Hey everyone, Stephen Lowisz with GTM Secrets, everything sales, marketing, RevOps, you name it. Today I have Ben Stokes, the head of sales at Responsive. Interesting guy, interesting background. I'll get into it in a minute, but Ben, I don't want to jack up your story, so mind giving a little context on yourself?
Yeah, sure. Ben Stokes here. I've been in sales for 20, 30 years now, something like that. Leading teams, owned companies, sold companies, worked in tech, mainly in cybersecurity, TPRM, and fintech for the most part. So yeah.
Love it. So you do have a interesting background. First, actually, I'm just curious, what kind of companies did you sell?
Yeah, so right out of college, I did my degree at the University of Utah and studied finance and started a couple of companies out of there. The first one was ATI, which was a transportation company. Logistics, so freight brokerage, not tech sales. But we grew that up to about 63 mil, sold that to Echo Global. And then I taught companies for a while how to do it, how to build brokerages, et cetera, and met with a guy named Luis out of and he owned a company called Marquise in Dallas. And so we started up another one, and it was coming around 2008 when the big crash happened. And in freight, you can always tell something's coming because loyalty goes down and rates go down, right? They don't want to pay as much. And so you always know something's coming. So we knew something, we had a short window. So we wanted to get that to about 10 to 12 mil in biz if we could in that window. And we were able to accomplish it. And then sold that to Luis and his partners there. It's really his family and his brothers. And then jumped out of that. My dad was always in tech, and I felt like the tech wave passed me over in transportation in those days. And so I jumped into tech and started in tech leadership at Advanced MD and then just kept going. I've worked everything small, big, medium, and everything in between.
I like it. As somebody who would love to exit in 5 years from my first tech startup that I actually built, I've helped others with theirs. I admire that. Would love that big payday as well. But the reason I think your career is interesting, when I was doing my due diligence, is you've sold everything from sales tech, and that's essentially what you do now,
Mm-hmm.
to risk management and fintech. With the exception of sales tech, I would say risk management and fintech, which I've sold fintech too, a lot of insurance tech and whatnot. Those are hard markets. Like, it is not necessarily sexy selling risk management and compliance and fintech, and now you sell RFP software. What do those have in common from your experience, and how have you really broken the shell on, again, what is pretty difficult, right? No one wakes up and is like, I want to change my risk management software, or I want to change my fintech software. Like, that just doesn't cross people's minds. So what did you learn from that now applies to your experience selling sales tech?
Yeah, no, good question. I've never thought about the comparison between all of them, but in sales, obviously there's comparisons in terms of the actual act of selling, right? We make money with words. So you try to master that portion and shoot the free throws there to get better at that and practice. But really it comes down to product market fit, which is it a must have or a nice to have product? If it's a must have, which a lot of times security, risk, all those are must haves, even they're pretty really agnostic to if we go up and down in terms of the economy. And because hackers are still hacking today, right? And so you still got to buy security products, you still got to do all those things. So you always have a pretty captive audience. It's just a matter of do the budgets tighten up or not, right? But from there, they're tough eggs to crack in a lot of those. And you hit it on the head of they're not easy sales by any means. If you think about a security person, they're trained to click on nothing and to look at nothing, right? And which makes prospecting very hard. And
Yep.
so it's just a different attack plan. And so what I like to do is I call it a lead A to Z, which is a really dumb name, but I really go from when a lead comes in the door all the way to the end of a sale. What does it touch? What every single process along the way? And how do we optimize that at every single station along the way to really optimize the buyer experience? I'm very much a fan of the buyer experience because again, you're buying my product. It's your decision. You're doing the homework. You're doing all those great things. It's just my job to help guide you. Right. And so it kind of counters a lot of the sales methodologies out there and those things where we control everything and, we pull every lever possible and all that stuff. And yes, we can do that internally still, because that's all about just pulling every lever possible that we can control. But what we got to remember is we got to make it an amazing buyer experience. If we do that, that changes the game. If you have feature parity, which most of these companies do across the board, there's little nuances, but across the board, they're pretty much, they all kind of pair off each other, and I built this, then I'll build this, and you know what I mean? You know how it goes. So really it comes down to, did we make a great, amazing buyer experience, and can we take care of them post-sale? Can we do what we said we're going to do? And so I go through that process, and it's usually when I come on board for an org, we do the lead A to Z process, and we change a lot. You change a lot of processes. And what I'm looking for is growth. How do we optimize this for growth? Are we sending leads to an SDR when it should go to an AE, or vice versa, or right? And so you got to go through all those things and all those exercises and really just the whole nuts and bolts of the whole thing, and just make sure it's optimized. And then from there, it's just getting amazing people in the door who are passionate about it. Sometimes sales and sometimes even for me, it kind of becomes the land of the lost. Like we're usually the kids who went through high school and they're like, what are you going to do? I don't know. When you get to college, what are you going to do? I don't know. And you kind of end up in sales in some form or fashion. And with that comes really passionate people, but it also comes people who are always looking for something else, who, will do enough that you don't yell at them, but they're not taking it further than that. They truly don't care about the client, and you see that in reps all the time. You see wonderful reps who have tons of passion, and you see reps who struggle. And it really just comes down to your commitment to doing this. And then also, do you really care? And so I think once you get past that and you start getting a team of the folks who are really passionate and holding each other accountable, you're pretty unstoppable, because you've set a really strong go-to-market motion. And so really there's similarities. Every company's kind of built exactly the same. It's just, we get funding or you don't have funding, and you figure it out from there. And then you do the lead A to Z, build your processes, get great people. And then it's just learning how to pitch it. And then how do we get people? Pipeline is king. Without pipe, we all die, right? Like, doesn't matter how great your product is. And so how do you get pipeline in the door? How do you do your SEO, SEM, all that fun stuff? So, you're outbounding, and are we using good tools? Are we doing it the right way? Are we personalizing? All that fun stuff. Do we have a LinkedIn presence? So yeah, kind of same thing we've all been through. Yep.
But for the reps that don't care, and there's a lot of them, it was funny, literally yesterday, we're looking at better product onboarding software, and I was on the phone with a potential vendor, and I basically, I got the answer, I don't know, for everything that I asked, right? He couldn't have cared to have been on the call, and literally told him, you're not telling me any value prop. You can't differentiate yourself from any competitor. The guy didn't want to be there. Like, you could sense it. So I went with one of his competitors, and totally get that. And I think that's big in big companies. Like, I love Salesforce. Have you ever talked to a Salesforce rep? They don't give a rat's what about you. You're just another number. So I totally get that. Ben, if you don't mind, we were talking a little bit about this before. It sounds like you're in an odd role. Like, it has to do with product, a little bit of demand gen. Like, it sounds odd. Talk
Sure.
about your current role.
Yeah, I actually love it. But yeah, it is odd. So I am over, really what we're creating is product expert overlays we have 7 different SKUs within our org. And so what we're creating is overlays of those, of people who have been selling that for a really long time. They know how to package it. They know how to price it. They know what the competitors are doing. They know the market in and out. And they're coming in as experts into the organization to help with the go-to-market efforts, help build the product, help guide the roadmap, and then also help sell it and help teach the reps how to do it and all those kind of things. So it's been a really fun role, because it's really what you do, whether you're in a C-level or VP of sales role. You're doing that on a micro scale with just your team. I'm getting to do this with the whole org. So all amongst the whole SKUs and things. So it's been a ton of fun. I love it. Yeah.
You told me before it's not being an SE, but it sounds damn near close to sales engineering. Tell me how I'm wrong, because I know I'm wrong.
No, you're good. So SEs jump on demos, right? And they go through all the features, and they're the technical sales reps that go through that. And there's a portion of that for sure. And we still have SEs on these calls, but I come in on the overlay of more of a consulting approach of here's how I've helped hundreds of clients build these before. Where SEs are feature based, I'm more, let's build the vision and let's start creating a strategy and let's get this put in place and let's do some great things for you. So it's more of a value seller plus SE almost, where
Yeah.
and plus consultant. And so, but that's only one portion of it. I'm creating enablement. I'm doing all sorts of enablement stuff. I'm doing all the training. I'm helping guide the roadmap. I'm in product sessions, working with all the C-levels, guiding budgets, doing all those things. So you're kind of a quarterback of all things for that product line. So it's a lot of fun.
So when I hear sales enablement, a lot of us immediately go to like Chorus and Gong and voice analytics and that sort of a deal, right? What does sales enablement mean over there?
Yeah, for my role, it's more, let's get all the training materials ready, all the pitch decks. What are we going to send clients post deal or post demo? You know, we're going to send the mutual action plan with a bunch of education materials. How are we going to educate the decision chain throughout? How are we going to get them excited about it? And it's all, again, based on that buyer's experience. It's all based to, if you're the CISO and couldn't join the call, let's get you as much information and get you excited about this product. I'm also doing a lot of calls, top-down calls. So reps will hit the champion level and I'll do top-down where I'll hit the CISOs and have those conversations at the top and talk strategy and start putting these things in place. So yeah, it's a jack of all trades. I'm actually hiring folks for my team, but it's really hard to find folks who can do all these different things. And so but it's a lot of fun. It's a really cool role. And I wish more orgs do it because it's killing it on sales. So it's super helpful.
Well, it sounds like you're putting your money where your mouth is when people talk about consultative selling. I mean, it sounds like you have a mini consultancy within the company, if you will.
Exactly.
I respect that. Put your money where your mouth is. I sell extremely consultative, but you talk to the average rep, they'll use the term and nothing's put into practice. So here's my next question. Now, your LinkedIn profile even says GTM strategist, right? Go to market. And I mean, this podcast is literally called GTM Secrets.
Yeah.
But most go to market folks are more on the marketing side, not the sales side. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, what does go to market mean to you, and how often, if you do, how often do you interface with marketing, and what does that relationship look like?
Yeah, I work with marketing every single day. So we're creating enablement and we're creating strategies around leads. So I'm also doing all the, like, how are we building lead gen and go to market around this in terms of that side of it? How are we taking this? How are we positioning it, et cetera? So I work with marketing every single day. But in terms of go to marketing and the flat out, the buttons you press, it really comes down to that product market fit. Do we have that? Are we building something people actually need? Which takes a lot of conversations. I mean, you see orgs who don't start up for a year or two because they're still figuring out, do they actually need this? Am I building the right thing? Yep. A lot of organizations build it, and then second, they try to sell it, and then they find out, oh crap, no one wants this thing. And then they have to pivot, right? And so you try to avoid that. So hey, I've done it too in my past too. So we've all been guilty.
I struggled with product market fit for about a year, and I would say we just went to market like 6-8 weeks ago with something that people actually love and rant about, right? I get it. It's brutal. Spent a lot of time building crap and spending a lot of my own money that I never should have.
Yep. I've done exactly the same thing. And so it's a really hard thing to find. And then I call it the customer-centric approach. Again, am I building what they really need? And to get that, you just have a ton of conversations. You got to reach out to folks. You got to, if you're a introvert, you got to be an extrovert and you got to figure it out, right? You got to go out and make all these conversations and get all these things set up and and learn as much as you can about that industry inside and out. What's working? What's making the competitive leaders today great? Why are they good? What's at that core and what can we do differently, et cetera. So that's a hard process and it takes a lot of time. It's just being a detective essentially. And then from there, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like the perspective of go to market coming from sales, there's some awesome marketers out there and I work with a lot of them, but there's a propensity for marketing to often look at marketing or go to market as how many leads can I generate, My big thing is leads aren't created equal. Who gives a care what your cost per lead is? I want to know what the cost per opportunity is, cost per deal is, overall ROI, and that takes more of a sales perspective than it does, let me just generate a bunch of leads, right? So I like that approach. It's just not something that you see very often. Go to market, again, tends to fall under marketing.
Yeah. No, that's what's really unique about my role here now as well, is I get to do that. And it's a ton of fun. And you bring I don't think anyone has a better perspective of any company than the guys in the ground in the trenches.
Yep.
What works, what doesn't, where are we getting slaughtered? What are our feature gaps? Is our pricing horrible? Is our, all those strategies, all those things that all comes from the trenches. And so you just learn things on that side. And then you have the marketing experts who know that side inside and out. So it makes a really good pairing. You might have lost me on the internet there.
Yep. You're back.
Okay. Where did I leave off?
In the trenches.
Yeah. So it's really important that I think the sales brings the in the trenches perspective, right? We've been through the wars. We know the products inside and out. We know how to pitch it. We know how it works. And then you have the marketing expertise. And so when you pair those two together and they actually get along and you're not against each other, like in some works, it's a ton of fun. And you do some great things together because it really gives you a full picture of how to accomplish it instead of just one side of it.
Now, how do you formulate your go-to-market process at Responsive, right? You guys sell RFP software, meaning they're doing enterprise sales, to say the least. Maybe you're even selling into enterprise orgs. Is it ABM focused? Is it focused on like, let's go get intent data? Is it persona based? What does that look like?
Sorry, my internet is horrible. You're gonna have to splice and dice this. Will you ask that again?
Yeah, no worries. What does your GTM strategy look like over there? Is it ABM based, intent focused? Is it persona based? What does that look like?
Yeah, so I think in every org I've ever worked at, we've tried all of the above, right? It's all about pulling every lever you can in certain fashions. And I'm a fan of doing that in containerized ways. So you're not disruptive to the rest of the org. If we want to try ABM campaigns, go for it. Send everybody a mug to their college or whatever you want to do and see how it works. And so I'm a fan of pulling every lever possible to learn what works. If you're talking security, those folks, because they are tough to get out and it's not they're so busy. I mean, these guys are just slammed. And so the disrupting their day for things is really tough. And so with that, there's, you can pull them out of the shell with, campaigns that give iPads or AirPods or things they actually care about, and you'll get them out, but obviously you got to have the budget and things to do that. So you just got to get creative and you got to pull every lever you can. But yeah, and I don't know, for me, it's just about those levers, man. Have we tried this? No, let's try it. Have we tried, blanket campaigns, personalized campaigns? You got to try it all and see what works. And typically it ends up being a mix of all the above that works.
Are you guys more of an inbound or an outbound shop?
Both. Yeah. So I would say more outbound than inbound, which I think most companies are now. They're forced to be, but
things are changing on inbound for sure. LLMs are screwing with SEO. Ads are getting more expensive. Now, everyone says this is dead, that's dead, like SEO, or, you can't do cold email anymore. That's dead. It depends on how you do it, but it's definitely getting harder.
Yeah.
So with that though, are you guys BDR going to an AE? Do you have full life cycle AEs? What does the actual outbound setup look like?
Yeah. So on the net new side, you have the BDRs who are feeding the AEs and teeing up demos for them. And they're doing all the calls and those. And I hear all this stuff. This is dead. That's dead. Pick up the phone. You'll do great things.
Yep.
It literally just comes down to that.
Cold calling's not dead.
None of it.
Calling corporate headquarters numbers. Yeah, that might be dead, right? You got to get their cell phone, but cold calling still works wonders, hands down.
No, yeah. Even for my own businesses, it's my first business. We built, we got that up to 63 million before we sold it. And that was built off of cold calls. I literally just 100 calls a day, every single day was my goal. And I just did that for 9 years straight. So yeah, it works. That's never gone anywhere. Human to human won't go anywhere because humans want to talk to humans. It's just
Yeah.
a matter of getting a hold of them and being consistent and getting your if you have an 8-touch cadence, getting it all the way through. You'll see so many reps just give up on those cadences at like step 2 or 3, and they don't finish these cadences out, but all the sweet spots tend to be at the back end. And so you've just got to see all those things through.
Yeah, you can't AI and automate your way into a human relationship, especially in enterprise sales. You can get away with a little bit more if you're selling, $1,000 a year product, but when you're selling, 5 figures, 6 figures, etc., you can't automate an AI your way out of it.
No, agree.
What are some of the best tools that you have in your tech stack?
Geez, I'm a pretty simple guy. We're a Salesforce shop here. Pretty comfortable
Love
with
it.
Salesforce. I've used that for many moons. And we use quite often. For me, that's the best way to, if I can't be on the calls, to listen to how my reps are doing and to help coach and train them. If you're not listening to those calls, it's really hard to understand how to help them. So for me, Gong's been invaluable. Their forecasting side, I used really early on. I've heard it's gotten a lot better, but when I used it, it was really basic. So I just used spreadsheets at that time because it wasn't working for me. But so nothing against you, Gong. If you hear this, I'm sure it's gotten better.
I think Gong now Zoom info too.
I don't know if they combine, but we use Zoom Info as well. They tend to have the best enrichment data I've seen. I've used Apollo and a bunch of others. But yeah, and they're more expensive. So they're obviously the harder one to get into if you don't have the cash. But yeah, they tend to be a little bit better in terms of enrichment data. Trying to think outside of that, the usual Google suite, and then MS365, we're using Excel and all those things. I use that every single day. Oh, outside of that, Seismic's making some cool stuff with the sales rooms.
Yeah,
I like that.
they
Yeah,
are.
I think that's pretty interesting. Where if we're doing a deal, you and I can share information there and host it there and chat through. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know. In my day to day, really, that's all we use here.
Do you guys use any intent data like 6sense, Bombora, demand base, anything? Well, Zoom Info's also got it now.
Yeah, Zoom's got it. They do. I have 6sense here as well. That goes to our BDR team. I don't see it, but yeah, they use it. I used 6sense at my past org, and the intent data wasn't accurate at the time, so I don't know if it's gotten better or not. But again, a year or two ago. So
listeners of the podcast, well, this is repetitive, but intent data is good if you have like a 12 or 18-month sales cycle. But by the time intent signals pick somebody up or a company up as looking for, cybersecurity software, pen testing, I'm making it up, right?
yep.
If it's a 3-month sales cycle, by the time the intent signals actually pick it up, they already found a vendor. They're already done with the sales process. It doesn't work. But it could be for very large, long sales cycles.
That makes sense.
At least that's my experience.
Yeah,
I mean,
we didn't look at that.
shameless plug. That's why I de-anonymize web traffic to see who's showing intent on my website in real time. But
Yeah.
I'll put the plug away.
No, that's always good. I see. What's the other firm doing that?
RB.
Yeah, where they're doing the similar things. So no, that's a good space to be in for right now.
From a technical standpoint, I crush them every day of the week. I will say Adam Robinson is a genius at LinkedIn marketing. He is viral with startups all over. He's a genius on that front. But product wise, I think we're more genius.
There you go. I like it. I haven't used it, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's the same strategy that's been around a long time. At Advanced MD, when we had a SDR team, and we'd just monitor chat. Whoever came to a certain page, we'd approach them and chat with them and get leads. Same kind of idea, right? So obviously, you do a lot more than that now, and it's a lot cooler than that. But in the old days, that was the way you did it, and it worked. We used to get a ton of leads from that. So
creepier. It's definitely creepier, but it works.
Yeah, it's creepier for sure. But no, it's a lead source, and it's something I do think again, it's about pulling all those levers. It's another lever to embrace. So
yeah, for sure. Well, Ben, really appreciate having you on, man. We try to get all sorts of different perspectives and whatnot. I love it. I think a lot of people will get a lot out of this. But really appreciate you coming on. Where's the best place for people to connect and with you? And I assume you're going to say LinkedIn.
Yeah, just hit me up on LinkedIn. And I'm a weirdo. I actually do answer every single outreach on LinkedIn. I do get bombarded, but I like to at least give folks an answer. So yeah, I'm pretty responsive there. So just hit me up. No big deal.
Love it. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries, man. Appreciate you.